Hey y'all, welcome to today's video. I thought I would share with you the eyeshadows that I'm reaching for the most. I've been giving a lot of thought to my eyeshadow collection and what I love and I reach for all the time. And then of course there are eyeshadows that I like to reach for when I'm being a little bit more adventurous that I have also. When I first started this channel, I think within a few months of starting it, I did an eyeshadow collection video a while back. If you're interested in seeing an updated video on that, let me know. I'd be happy to do that. I will share with you, it would be a pretty boring video because the majority of my collection at this point has been culled down to what I consider like my own cult favorites in my mind. So, I love Natasha Denona and Pat McGrath. They're staying in the collection forevermore. And then some others, Vizier and a few other lines that I have an affinity for, I enjoy the formula, they're reliable for me. Some of the others have left the collection. So in terms of eyeshadow, I went through this period back in like mid 2010s, like 2015, 2016, 2017, in that time frame and it was at the height of makeup YouTube makeup world, where everybody was starting a channel. There were lots of big makeup YouTubers. We've talked before about how a lot of those folks, they're still doing makeup, but they've also expanded their channels to do a lot of different kinds of content. And so it's just not the same as it was at that time period. But at that point, all the rage was getting the newest products, especially eyeshadow palettes, testing them out on screen and letting you know thoughts on those and whether you should pick up the palette or not. So I was like in this craze, purchasing eyeshadow palettes, many of which have made their way out since then, years ago, others that sort of hung on for a second round that I let go of more recently. But then there are the tried and trues that I still have. So let me know if you'd be interested in hearing what those are and why they have made it through numerous declutters and are still in my collection. So I have a little basket of eyeshadows that I wanted to talk about. But first, I want to give you just a quick update. In the last video, we talked about Invisalign, and I do have them in. And at the time of the video that I filmed, it was a vlog in the car kind of a thing. I talked about getting the nodes on the teeth, and I shared that they look, I hate the way that they look. But I want to share that I'm leaning into it and trying to be a little less vain and just kind of flowing with it. They look sort of yellow, which I don't like in the light. They aren't actually yellow, but they are picking up as yellow on camera. So I'm sorry if that seems weird or is grossing anyone out. And I hope that I don't sound very different with these on, because I'm still many weeks later, getting used to talking with them in. Obviously, I don't eat with them in, but talking with them in, I do take them out to eat. And now that the nodes are officially on, you see, I still don't like them, but I'm learning to be okay with them and just adjust when I'm on camera. Not for this channel. We're friends over here on this channel. We're good. Y'all are okay with my nubs and looking how I look. But on my other channel, I have just adjusted, one, to film without them, and two, just to keep my mouth more like this and not like this, so people aren't looking at the nubs. So we'll see how that works out. C'est la vie. I asked for it. They're here, and I'm gonna get my money's worth out of my Invisalign treatment. We'll also take a really brief break here to update you on the room that I'm in, which is my downstairs office. So I have an office on the first floor across the foyer from my husband's office, and I love that office too, but I especially like this one down here. So I sort of have the bottom floor to myself, and then my husband has the first floor to himself when we're working from home, and we can be as loud as we need to be on our calls and all of that without disturbing each other and constantly sort of interrupting each other. But when we want to be together, I go ahead and get in that office across the hall, the one with the gray walls that I've showed in other videos. But this office down here is particularly cozy and cocooning because of the colors that are in here. There's a lot of earth tones and warm creams and browns and linen types of colors. Like here, here you have with the chair that's behind me. Well, and hello, curtains that look like linen, and the wall, you can see the wall color. And I also love this view out that way to the backyard, which is just peaceful and serene and lovely. So let's take a break and see how the office ended up. Hey, just me wondering if I have any packages in the mailbox today. Yeah, I want something to come in the mail. It's like an addiction. It's a thing. It brings me joy to see a package out on the porch in the mailbox. We'll go check in a second. But before we do that, I wanted to take a very quick minute to just appreciate my home office downstairs. I have one upstairs also because I'm a spoiled brat. This is my downstairs office. It's very lived in at this point. If you've watched me from the beginning, you know that there was a lot of conversation about where to place that desk. I still haven't hidden the cords over there, even though I have the apparatus to do that. And I just really appreciate this space. I don't have any lights on right now, so you can't get like a full appreciation of the warmth of it, but I love it. I love it. It's so comfortable. And then when I need to just sit somewhere and think for a second, just kind of change locations to change the energy, I sit on this couch and I purchased all of the pillow covers. These are old pillows, I think, or these, I don't remember. I think these are pillow covers for sure. I don't remember if these are pillows or, I think, well, look here. Yep, they're pillow covers. That solves that problem. Oh my God, I think I'm ruining it. I better stop. I'll fix that later. Anyway, very comfortable here. And I love sitting at the desk looking out there. So that's my view and I love it. So look at this. Here's part of the package dilemma. I have this big box from Amazon. So I do have a package. However, I'm ashamed to admit that this has been sitting in this foyer, gosh, for the better part of 3 days now. Why? Because there's nothing in there that's sexy. It's like packing tape, and I don't even remember what else I ordered, but let's go to the mailbox and see if there's anything there. Okay, let's get into the eyeshadows. And this may sound a little dorky, forgive me, but I wanted to connect my recent obsession with certain palettes to a recent trend making its way through social media. So a while back, we went, and we're still going through the soft life phase where, and I did a video on my own soft life principles, and people have different definitions of what that means. But generally, soft life means embracing like your femininity, embracing treating yourself well, pampering yourself, not overworking, not overcommitting, and all of the other things that we do. And we're trying to like boss up and establish our careers and make sure we have a place in the world and that people respect us for the talents that we bring and all of that. Soft life is about enjoying yourself, treating yourself well first, relaxing when you need to, taking time for yourself and not overdoing it. That's my interpretation of it. Anyway, and the other trend that has been making its way in more recent weeks and maybe the past month or two is quiet luxury. Ooh, I love that term, quiet luxury. Here's how I feel about quiet luxury versus what people may think it means. So I think it's sort of, pardon my French here, but like bastardized on social media in that people are interpreting quiet life, not quiet life, excuse me, quiet luxury to mean looking rich without trying so hard. So what does that mean? Like not wearing designer logos all over, not being like the most extravagant, not wearing excessive jewelry and carrying handbags that have, the logos on them and all of that. Like basically not being flashy. And people think then that quiet luxury means still looking rich, but just not in that maybe tacky way. Okay, so however you may feel about that, it's fine. For me, though, when I think about quiet luxury, I think about the ways, again, it's kind of connected to that soft life thing. Like it's almost like an extension of that. It's the ways that we spoil ourselves and we either spend on ourselves or splurge on ourselves in other ways that feel luxurious to us and are understated. So I will live into that understated part of the sort of original definition that's going around on social media. We don't need to shout about who we are and what we have and always be doing the most in every space. I mean, hey, if that's you and you like that, more power to you. I'm going to still have dinner with you and we're going to kiki and have a glass of wine and enjoy each other for sure. But as I get older, I'm more in the space of being less loud and less like the most noticed person in the room. I don't know that I ever went through that phase, but I certainly had moments, if you will. And I'm a lot more about being understated. Now, I do like some chunky jewelry, like statement pieces and that kind of a thing, as you see. But in general, my clothing at this point in my life stays pretty simple. And even though I have fairly extravagant eyeshadow in terms of colors and really interesting things that I like to do with eyeshadow and makeup in general from time to time, more and more, and especially post-COVID, as I live and work from home more than anything else, and even when I go into the office, I'm fairly conservative. I like to keep things on the sort of simpler side. Now, I may really do it up for like videos on the other channel because I feel like that's a creative outlet. Like doing crazy makeup and stuff is a creative outlet for me. But like in terms of the everyday to-day type of thing, I like to reach for simple looks. Now, I could have curled my hair for y'all today, so maybe I went a little too simple with the hair. But the makeup is, this is it. This is what we're going with today. It's end of day anyway, like it's post work. This is what I wore today. This is what I look like on my, video conferencing calls and all of that. And then with the eyeshadow, I'm so like rushed and crazy in the morning because I have a lot of things going on before work. You know me from the other videos. I'm constantly moving and doing things. I've got 20 things on my list to do and take care of in a day, that I have very little time in the morning. And so then I reach for certain eyeshadows more than others that I know are reliable and represent that quiet luxury for me. They're understated, but they're always going to give me a look that I'm happy with. It's not the most beautiful, extravagant makeup look, as I mentioned. It's simple, but I know that it's going to work. So let's talk about the eyeshadows that I would recommend to you. If you want quiet luxury eyeshadows, what should you reach for? Which palettes are good to have in your collection? Let's get into it. So as I mentioned, they're in this little basket. I only chose only five, which would be the ones that if I only had to choose five, I would pick for my everyday, like day-to-day use that I would know were wonderful, would give me a look I would enjoy. I could do a light look, a medium look, or a super dark look and sultry, like it could take me day to night. So, and my rule was I could only choose one per brand. I couldn't have like two from a brand. That was hard considering that I love you-know-who as much. So let's go ahead and talk about you-know-who, and that is my lady, Natasha Denona. Y'all, I have been rocking hard with this Biba Neutral palette since it came out. This is the same palette. I have not re-upped it. I have so many palettes. I'll never like go through any of them. But this is, in my opinion, a used palette. Like this is, for me, it looks relatively used. Like there's a dent, in a couple of them, and it's upside down. So just know that. But what I love about this palette, well, I love the Natasha Denona formula in general. This is what I'm wearing on my eyes today. I have this through the crease. I think I have this brown one through the deeper crease a little bit to kind of darken it up. And then I have, what is it? This gold here on the lid. I didn't do any inner corner highlight or anything like that. And then I used the black to line just the outer corners for a little bit of depth on camera. But this is such a versatile palette. I wore it for my wedding. I think I stuck in these colors over here for my wedding. This row up here gives you a phenomenal cool gray look. And you can deepen things up with the brown tones. You can smoke out your eye with this. This is a cream to powder formula, the black one. This is kind of one of those all-in-one palettes. The only thing it doesn't have that I would love would be a very light shimmer. So like these two shimmers are very similar. This one maybe has, let me just show you. We'll do that one. Okay, there you go. And then the one in the top corner. So those are the two shimmers. The top one is more gold and the bottom one is more like a little bit bronzy. So you get that. And then there's this shimmer, which I love. I do have this one on my eye too, on the very outer corner. That's just creamy. I've had this eyeshadow palette for years since it came out. And let me tell you, it's just as good as when it was released. This formula holds up so well over time. It has really big pans for you to dip your brushes into. Depending on your skin tone, you can use some of these as blush, okay? And maybe even a little bit of bronzing if you're very, very light with it. The formula's strong though, so I'll be really careful about that. In general, you get some nice neutral looks out of here. I really like the simple look that's on my eyes today, and it works, So one of my number one choices, the Biba palette. She's the queen. One that's newer to my collection but has impressed me a lot, and I don't care for the packaging on these, and it's the Juvia's Place packaging. If this were a design where, and this cardboard, so that's my one complaint. If this were a design where maybe it was plastic like this and had the two ladies, for example, as a logo in the upper corner, that might be really pretty. But just the two ladies, the drawings right there in the front, it just is not appealing to me. I like a little bit more of a subdued cover. So anyway, this is called the Coffee Shop. I did not think I was going to get this palette. A woman named the Santa Maria is her channel on YouTube, posted about this on Instagram, and she's just an amazing makeup artist. She always has the most beautiful looks, and she posted some looks with this, and I was like, oh, I really like it. I would love to have that. So I went to Ulta, and I got myself, look how beautiful this is, you guys. This palette is amazing. You get all these different varieties of silvers, and this one is almost like a silvery green. Here we go. We're going to swatch again because I can't help myself. Very pretty silvery greenish shift there, maybe even a little bit of bronze in that. All these deeper colors, really deep color here, nice browns, a very nice light color that you can do on your eyebrow area or in the inner corner, or even just use as your like background setting powder before you go in with the others. So far I have found that the shimmers in this formula, metallic shimmers, whatever you would like to call them, perform really well and are really impactful on the eye. And the mattes blend out particularly well. So this is a beautiful combination of colors in here that can give you a light day-to-day look, like you could sort of stick in this section if you just wanted to get a little bit of color in the eye, or if you really wanted to glam it up, like go glamazon style, boom. Now, like I said, if this came in some plastic packaging, and maybe we had the ladies off to the side or a corner or something like that, this might be my #1 choice, but the formula in here is chef's kiss. Next is a palette that has been hanging tough. This outer packaging gets so many fingerprints, so I'm sorry, I'm trying to wipe them off, but it's not going to work. This is the Patrick Ta Major Dimension palette. I like the compactness of this, that it's simple and sits well among other palettes. You know, it's not a big, like, fussy packaging deal here. Look at these gorgeous colors. If you are a neutral lover, and you like a little bit of warmth, because there's some warmth over here. Maybe these are more neutral on this side. This is, you can't go wrong with this, you guys. I think this is one of those palettes where every skin tone, from the palest to the deepest, can find something in here that works with them on any given day. There are some cream formulas here that you would lay down first before, if you want to, you don't have to use them, before you put on the others for some impact. I have used these where I put it on the eyelid first and then put one of the shimmers over it, or the metallics, to make it stick and pop a little bit more. And I've also used them under the mattes. So, and sometimes I don't use them at all. But this is a nice sort of range of colors, this nice reddish warm color. This is a more neutral brown. These nice pops of light color here. This one is a little bit more gentle of a shimmer. Well, it's kind of, let's see. You see how it has a little bit of sparkle there? And then, like, let me take this one here so you see what that looks like. Nice bronze type of deal there. So this is a good one, and sorry about all the fingerprints. I know that's kind of gross, but boom, love this palette. Then here's someone that got the packaging right. This is the Anastasia Nouveau palette. This is so sleek and chic. Online, I didn't care for it. I thought it would look cheap in person, but it actually looks rather well put together. It's almost like a tailored linen jacket, if you will, for the palette. I love the gold imprint of Anastasia. The font is elegant. I love this little gold tab here. And I love that they even went through the trouble of making the wraparound gold. So this is a really chic, elegant package. Love this. And the formula in here, wowzers. Not so crazy about the lilac. I honestly don't reach for it much, but these other colors, like, let's cover that up. Look at these other colors. That's a neutral lover's dream. You get something lighter over here, deeper. You know, you can go a little crazy with this. There's a grungy green here. This one is I'm gonna have to swatch for you. Oh my God, touching these, they're cool and buttery. Like, just touching it, the temperature of the eyeshadow is cool. It's like putting your finger into a stick of butter. It's so, so cool. But this has that like bluish, aqua, greenish shift in there that is really fun on the eyes. Let me see if we can do a little swatcheroo. Look at that. Look at it. And I just, the mattes blend out beautifully. This is an outstanding palette. In fact, I think I want the Rose Metallic. Is that what it's called? Rose Metals? The sister palette of this. It's not a sister, excuse me. It came out, I think, right before this, like months before it, or in the same time frame or whatever that Anastasia did. They put out the two palettes together. Really, really outstanding. And then the last one, can you guess what it is? I'm ashamed that I didn't curl my hair for y'all. Like, this little piece of hair right here is so burnt up from me over styling it. I'm trying to let the hair that's growing out be treated really well. I think I shared with you all that I am watching this gentleman called the Blowout Professor on YouTube. He has changed the way that I wash and blow dry my hair. And I feel like despite this looking crazy here, I didn't do a good job blow drying today. I didn't follow all his tips today. But usually when I do, my hair has been looking, I think, a lot healthier overall. I'm really happy with the changes, although today's not a good demonstration of that. So the last palette, these weren't in any particular order. Maybe I should rank them for you. I'll rank them in a second. Let's do that. I've never done that. That would be fun. Is the new Byredo Remembrance palette. Again, another one that has 10,000 fingerprints. I don't love the outer packaging with the statue on it. But here is the gorgeous formula. Wowzers. I particularly love this section here. This is just beautiful. The pinks are nice too. They show up a little weird in terms of my video conferencing. They almost look like I've been sick, but in person they look great. They just don't transfer well on camera, and that's fine. In person they're great. All of these shimmers are really, they're dry. So whereas that Anastasia formula feels like wet butter, these feel silky dry, but they're so pretty. Look at that. Look at it. So I like that this is a big, versatile palette, not an inexpensive palette. In fact, the only inexpensive one among them, this one was like 110-ish. Crazy. This one, the Anastasia one, I think was like 50 something. I got it on sale, so I don't remember. Patrick Ta, I think, is in the 70 something dollar range. Okay. This is the most affordable one, but then you get the cheap packaging with it. And I think this one was right under 30, somewhere in there. And then finally, the most expensive one is the Natasha Denona Biba palette. I think this is still going for $129. Worth every penny. You can't tell me otherwise. So rankings. Drum roll, please. Oh, God. Oh, God. In the 5th slot, maybe because I haven't played with it as much as the others, is going to be the Byredo Remembrance palette. In the number 4 slot, I'm going to put Patrick Ta in number 4, Major Dimensions. In the number 3 slot, this is tough. It's kind of a tie, but I'm going to go ahead and put Anastasia in number 3. Number 2, despite the packaging issues, at least for right now, the formula's holding up. We'll see how it holds up in a couple of years. The Juvia's Place palette. This is super versatile as that neutral palette that has both cool tone and warm tone in one. And I have to say, my number 1, I didn't put the Glam palette in here, the Natasha Denona Glam, because I would, if I had to choose, take this one over that one, although they're both really, really good. So honorable mention to the Glam palette. But this Biba palette is the one for me. This is the girl. Let me know, how about you? Do you have a favorite neutral palette that you just can't live without? Like, what would be your top choice if you had to leave your house, leave behind all your eyeshadow, and just take 1 or 2 palettes? What would you pick out of your collection? Do you like these kind of videos? Let me know. Also interested in hearing if there's any other content you'd like to see on this channel. I'm game. Let's talk. Let's make it happen. Take care and hope you have a great one.